maybe 2 or 3 new players just for this camp, Jessica Cowett, who scored the winner, the first goal last night. So there'll always be players who are up for selection. There's even more interest now from players all around the world and here in the Philippines to want to fight for a jersey. So that's healthy for the team. But that camp, we don't know where it is at the moment. So hopefully in the next week or so we'll find out where that is and we'll be able to announce it.
Coach Staj, everybody's talking about the midfield of the team, but not enough on the defensive blocking and, of course, the set pieces. How crucial was that for this tournament?
Yeah, well, again, I said last night, Noel Arate is the mastermind of our set pieces. He spends, hours and hours trawling through every team, every opposition's games just to try and find a weakness and try and prepare our team to be as strong as they are on set pieces. And, it paid off in this tournament. I don't think we would have won the tournament if it wasn't for our set pieces. So, in terms of that, he deserves a lot of the credit. In terms of the back line, we've played 10 games in the last 25 days in Europe and here, and we've conceded 4 goals. And that doesn't come from the back line, it doesn't come from the goalkeeper, that comes from the whole team. Our defensive line starts with our strikers and it goes all the way through to the back line and the goalkeeper. So you can see, apart from tactics and discipline, you can just see the heart and spirit that the players play with. And defending is a lot about mentality, and the way that the players put their bodies on the line and fight for each other is again really special and unique, and it's really one of the main reasons why we have been successful this week.
Coach, you've been all around the world, but many would say that the Filipino football fans were just breathing and moving differently last night. Can you talk more about how the support was for the team and of course for the country? Yeah,
it's magical. It's magical. Just I'm a fan deep down, so I just love hearing the noise. I love hearing the people singing. I love hearing the ultras. In Australia, flares are banned, but I love seeing the flares at the stadium, the firecrackers going off, and people just enjoying themselves. And when you see a smile on a kid's face from ear to ear, and it brings a lot of joy to everyone in our team. So, being a fan in a country where football's not the number one sport like here in Australia, we know how hard it is to fight for attention, to fight for media space, to fight for the things that other sports just get naturally. And I'm sure that's basketball here in Australia, it's rugby and Aussie rules. So I know how much more attention they get just by doing anything. So we have to fight harder in football, but we love being the underdog, so we're going to keep fighting and make sure that football's the number one sport in this country.
Thanks, Coach. The flares were new, by the way. That's the first time I've seen Filipino football fans have that as well.
That was excellent. As long as it's legal.
Yeah. Coach, you've been around the world, as Marty said, you've coached World Cup teams also, and can you talk about the investment the Philippines is pouring out into this World Cup campaign? Is there more that you actually want to do and want to spend for, or is it enough?
Yeah, well, look, one of the conditions of me taking this job was that the team would be fully funded. I'm not coming here to do half a job. None of us committed to doing half a job. Either we came here and do the job properly, or we didn't want to do the job. And we got that assurance from the PFF and from Jefferson Chen. So we're living up to it. We spent 3 weeks in Europe. We spent 5 weeks in Australia together as a group. That would cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. I don't know what the final budget was, but to take a whole team of 40 people around Europe. We were in Turkey, we were in Slovenia, that costs a lot of money. So, none of this would be possible, as I said earlier, without that funding and support as a starting point.
Coach, after this, in a few days, we'll have the ASEAN Under-18 Girls Championship. Is there any synergy between the women's team and the 18 under team? Is there synergy or cooperation?
Yeah, well, Coach Lett spent 5 weeks with us in Australia. And she saw what we did at training, and she had a great time. She was an important part of our staff, but the whole point of her being there, apart from aligning with us, was for her to see what kind of patterns of play we had and for her to try and implement some of those with the youth teams. Bella Flanagan and Chantel Manidi are leaving here today and going with the under-18, so we'll have 2 players who are crossing over and are going to be part of that team as well. And it's a very important platform to be a successful country in the future. We can't just rely on plucking players who are developed overseas. There needs to be a good breeding ground here in the Philippines as well. There's a third of the players here that were born and bred and raised here under Filipino football. But for us to be stronger, we need to identify better players around the world, and we need a better development pathway here in the Philippines as well.
So, Coach, you've seen the 18 under team. Do you have any quick analysis or like a preview of that team? Any quick?
No, I haven't seen them play yet. As I said, only Chantel Manidi and Bella Flanagan from here will join that team, but I haven't seen the rest. But we get reports from Coach Lett, regularly about the quality of those players, and ultimately, if any of them are good enough, that they'll jump into our team as well, into the senior team.
By the way, Coach, in relation to my question earlier, do you have any specific opponents lined up in your North American team and in your
We don't at this point in time. In October, we're close to signing off, but until that's announced and signed off, there's no point in saying who it could be.
Coach, so you're looking to help develop like the system of like Philippine football, also especially on the women's side.
Yeah, we have to try and influence the whole pathway, and ultimately that starts with young kids wanting to play, growing the game, growing the number of young boys and young girls who want to play. Not only was it girls watching the game yesterday, but young boys were out there watching as well. So the bigger the base, obviously, is important, but we need to make sure that there's good competitions now and good training environments here and good coaches here in the Philippines as well. And we're definitely talking to different parts of the PFF about that.